Hit it!
Hello, this is Lisa Rusczyk
And Misty Lord.
with podcast We Are All Psychic, and today, guess who's back? Already is Miriam, and she was the last podcast, I think. And we really need guests, and we are so happy because she has another one after this one next week. So, Miriam, do you still think we're all psychic?
I do.
Okay, well, it's nice and succinct. You still think we're all psychic?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're getting straight to it today.
Yes.
So, listeners and watchers, this may or may not be a video podcast.
Wait, hey, Lisa?
Yeah.
Do you think that we're all psychic?
Yeah.
Just want to check. I hadn't asked you in a while.
You haven't asked me in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I've been lonely about that. No one asked me.
I know. So I had to break that out.
It's kind of weird, though. Miriam is here today. One of the things she wanted to talk to us about, listeners and maybe watchers, if this works out correctly. I'm on my phone to the cloud of the Zooms, and I'm out of town, so we're seeing how this goes. And I'm on internet towers because there is no Wi-Fi. And so she was coming to talk about her, is it Qigong or Qigong? How do you pronounce it?
Gong. Like
What was
chi
that?
and then gong.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's something
chi.
I'm really curious about that you're going to talk to us about, because I've had some experience with just chi energy, and I really can't wait for you to talk about this. I'm really curious. So she's also going to talk about how it affects her health, your health, and your body overall, right? And your mind and everything. Oh, so go ahead, spill the beans, girl.
Okay, so as you are both aware, I have that awesome, widespread life-threatening allergy thing. That's about as good of a diagnosis as I can get on it. And so one of the things that I always said I would do is, to never give up and always just try to find answers. Even if that means going outside of like conventional medicine, which out in the boonies where I live is kind of hard to do. Like chiropractic.
I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, like chiropractors are kind of like still a new thing out here.
Yeah,
So,
really.
like,
Yeah, where you are. Yeah.
like people are used to them. They're used to those, but like, energy healing and stuff like that is definitely not something that you're going to run into. And so
You don't find it in Alabama much either.
definitely not. Yeah, it's just, we were at a loss for that being available to us.
Yes.
So I had a former student, who actually ended up with some kind of a rare genetic mutation that was causing pancreatitis and was like legit killing this poor kid at like the age of like 19.
Oh,
And
Most
like
painful
years of
thing in the
suffering
world.
before, like ulcers and thinking it was this and that and it not being any of those things. And
Oh,
like
it hurts a lot more than an ulcer. I've had pancreatitis, and it's I had
definitely
it
like he
medicine
was
induced. Yeah, his was just a gene. His
it was a
genetic.
genetic mutation that was like causing it. And so he ended up getting like his entire pancreas, I believe, removed, and like his spleen, possibly, like a lot of things. And like the last time I had seen him, all this was going on, like he basically looked like a 44-year-old, man who was like not very healthy. And this was like a 20-year-old, kid that I taught, in high school. And so he ended up posting on Facebook about working with a Qigong doctor named Dr. David Stokes Hone. And the guy, supposedly, according to his Facebook post, had healed him through Qigong exercises. Okay. And that he was now able to heal himself, that he was off everything except one medication, et cetera, and so forth. So I got a hold of him and said, hey, because the kid was offering treatments at this stage because he had actually gotten certified to do the same type of thing.
Oh,
and
cool.
Yeah, so I called him and said, hey, it's your old English teacher.
He remembers you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I want to see what this is all about. And so he actually came to my home and did like a treatment on me. And I made sure to keep my eyes closed and just let him do what he needed to do. There was very little touching involved. And like I was up on like a massage table, but like I could feel pulling and sensations inside of my body and like see flashes of like colors from behind like my eyelids.
Yeah.
and feel emotions and all of that, and also feel different things after the treatment, like euphoria, or like literally feeling like you'd been hit by a truck, like afterwards.
Sometimes, that sounds like a Reiki treatment can be like that too. Yeah. So this is what did he call this treatment exactly?
This was basically just like, he called it kind of like channel clearing. And so he was working a lot with like the meridians of like the collarbone, like the insides of the arm, and that type of thing. So he worked on me, I think 3 or 4 times, and seemed to kind of be getting somewhere with me. But then he kind of, he's like 22. And so he started doing different stuff for work. And I started texting him like, hey, are you going to still keep doing that? Yeah, are you going to keep doing that stuff?
That helps.
He wasn't so much into it anymore. He
healed and he wanted to go live his life.
Exactly. So he referred me to Dr. Hone, who actually does like telehealth treatments and phone treatments.
Perfect.
And so I was able, totally, like, so that you don't have to travel. I think he's based mainly in Utah now. But he started really working on like childhood trauma, was like a big stem from it. And that was something that he thought was, something where I would like need to heal myself, kind of situation. And so I'm taking a class from him and his partner. Her name's Heather. Professionally, she's known as Heather Harmony. She's an astrology expert. And I've also had sessions with her as well. But now they're like a team that work together. And they teach classes, and their classes are actually like extremely inexpensive compared to what people normally pay for that kind of like, I've seen like sessions for one Qigong session, like even what my former student was doing, which would have been like an hour on the table, $1,200, it would be some people charge that much, and so for these people to be charging like basically,
that feels unethical, but maybe it's not. I don't know.
Like
people say to me, you have a lack mindset.
Like feng shui and stuff like that. They'll come in and tell you how to move your couch around and be like, all right, give me $1,400. I'm like, dang.
How much are they charging?
Yeah, right.
They only charge around like, I think it's like $150 for the first like consult.
Okay.
And then after that, like it's around like $100, give or take, depending on where you're at. Their classes, the one that I'm taking is only like $100 a month. It is a biweekly class. And it's a shaman and mystics class that we just do online. And that's been really fun. Yeah. And that actually
love that. Because that is like you going through like what you experience, without finding answers and everything. It sounds like the shaman sickness, if the traditional shaman sickness, like you're gonna die unless you do your spirit shit.
Yeah, for real. I know. And the Heyoka stuff is like that too. It all ties into that Heyoka empath stuff of like, you're just gonna suffer. That's what you're here to do.
That's your fun time.
Like it's super special. Like, that feels super special.
It's not fun.
But it is something that has been interesting because I've done so much with just like my third eye is like pretty wide open, and the rest of me is like my crown. I hear my crown is pretty open. The rest of me is like crushing in on itself. Being like sucked out by
they explained why they think that's going on with your energy? And
they haven't actually explained it like that. What they've actually explained is like almost like a leaky gut kind of situation.
Like how did they like what do you mean by that? Like you have leaky
like
energy?
Something about like it's like something about your intestinal tract not holding in everything, and so some things like release into your bloodstream like really quickly. It's actually something that holistic doctors look into, but it's not something that the actual like medical community accepts as an actual disease. And so
I understand.
Feel like everything I'm into. And so they said that they saw like or Dr. Hone saw like a black like coating that was basically around my peritoneal sac, which would be like between my organs, which actually tracks to what medical doctors would tell me, because we've done like endoscopies, colonoscopies, like biopsies of everything, you know, to try to figure out what is it that she can't eat food. She can't go outside. She can't be around people if they have stuff on them, you know, like animals and all of that.
Yeah.
And so that actually tracks that's there. So like through like purging exercises, which are physical movements that you do, and toning exercises that you do with your voice, which is always like super. Yeah. Oh, like, yeah.
I love doing that stuff. Feels good.
And you and all these fun little sounds that you get to purge your organs. So I do a lot of those. And like, I have noticed that if I slack off like on the daily routine, my itching gets worse. It just starts to come back. And I'm like, okay, so it is kind of working.
And listeners, I don't know about you, Miriam, but before I had a mast cell activation itch, I had never experienced an itch quite like that. You can't scratch it. And
it's like
never
underneath
feel good. Even when you're scratching it, it doesn't feel, it just wants to be scratched more and you can't get it enough. You know, it's like, it drives you crazy, doesn't it? It's just like, really
like under that whole epidermal layer, you know, it's like down in there nice and deep.
So this is one of the practices you do. These are some of the things you're doing. And like, what else do you do that's been helping from that you learned from these people? From the Qigong?
They've also taught me, what's interesting about Dr. Hone is that he's also a Christian. And so he kind of brings a different lens to the whole experience for me, because I'm very, very pagan, you know? And very, very open-minded person, you know, with me and my beliefs. And so that's always, and Heather has been wonderful. She actually showed me like a past birth chart situation. Wow. And they were able to like kind of pinpoint like past life experiences. I actually had like flashes and memories of that. I was like, there's no way that she could know that, you know, without this.
Yes, especially when they start telling you. For me, my experience, Misty has more experience with this than I do. At the times I've done it, like the memories will come back as they tell me sometimes. And then later on, more will come back, you know? Like Misty, like you've had this a lot. You've had these experiences. You've had done regression work more.
I love it. It's so interesting. You find out so much about yourself.
And like you find out what's holding you back in a lot of cases, you know, and that part can be humbling.
I bet. That's probably why I haven't done it. I want to be humbled. I've been humbled too much in the last 6 years. I don't need any more, please.
I know. I'm like, praise me. Praise me, please.
Oh, stop. I'm not Job. Leave me alone.
Hey, I've said that before.
I totally feel that. But yeah, they pretty much, anybody that I've talked to in the areas that they've worked have told me that they've gotten better, you know, that there's been improvement or even a full cure-all, you know. And so that's why I keep working with them. And like, they are just like very, very kind, you know, genuine people that are very comfortable to be around and deal with, like, you know, medical, uncomfortable childhood trauma, all that fun stuff, you know.
And they've heard it all, I bet. So they know how to handle it when someone just heard it for the first time out of their own mouth. You know, they don't know. I bet that happens.
Even their certification course to actually become like a master in Qigong or whatever you want to call it is, I mean, I think they only charge like $199 a month or something
That's really good.
And that's, I mean, it's unheard of. It's unheard of. No school charges that little, you know?
Yeah.
And they're very, very hands-on. Like it's a small kind of like, you know, little operation. And so I highly recommend anybody, and they can pretty much reach anybody if you have internet.
What is the definition of Qigong? Do you know the definition offhand? What is
Qi is basically just like your energy. There's like, and the more I learn about it, like the less I feel like I understand.
You know what I think it is? When I work with Qi and a spirit, I've talked about this on the podcast. I think I told you a spirit came in and I taught it to me, but I can't teach it to anyone else. I'm trying to find someone to teach this to, but I haven't been able to yet. Missy's up for it, but we haven't gotten together since she said yes. But we have done that.
Down.
But I tried to teach her one other time, but it just didn't work. So I'm like, how do I teach this? And but it's like the Force in Star Wars, or it's like being in the zone as an athlete. It's a physical force. It's not like, I would say it's different from Reiki. Reiki has like a presence and a consciousness.
Or like the Tao.
I don't know. I've never worked with that, but the chi is just physical. If I get conscious enough to say, I always say to myself, chi be with me. It's kind of like the force be with me. I'll be like, be with me. And I'll be falling down and all of a sudden I'll be upright. It just like makes my body operate correctly. If I just let it take over. And it's just a really weird, it feels like the zone, I guess, for athletes. I've never been an athlete, obviously, but, other than yoga, and that's not competitive athleticism, but, they get in that zone like a football player or something, or a basketball player, and they're hitting every whatever they hit. I don't know much about sports, but you know how that goes.
Do I? But yes,
and the baskets and all that stuff. But they get in that mindset, and I think that's a good way to put it for people. Like if you get in the zone, or if it's like a life force, but it doesn't.
Yes,
it isn't really spiritual. It's more like like a force of the physical. I can't explain it any other way. But you can't see it, but you can harness it easily. Very easily.
And it ties into science pretty easily as well, and that's the cool thing about it.
They can This is what that spirit didn't say anything, but he taught it to me through a pose.
Okay, yeah.
And then I tried showing other people this series of poses that he did that, I was like, oh, what? When it happened, I didn't know what he was teaching me. I was like, is this prana? Because I knew yoga. Yep. And he's like, yeah. The only thing he would say is chi. I was like, okay, I'm going to call it prana. And he's like, chi.
That's so
like,
cool.
They're the same thing, aren't they? He's like, chi.
He's like, not for me.
You must have some questions. You got questions for me.
How long have you been doing it now?
I think I've been doing it. I know I've been doing it over a year. We might be creeping up on 2 actually at this point. The class that I started. What's that?
How are you feeling?
Like I said, like it's been like gradual, and like things have improved quite a bit health-wise just because I quit my job. And so living like fairly isolated in my house, like does help me control those symptoms a lot more. We do a lot of experimentation with me as far as like, let's try this and see what happens, like Reckenweg drops. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those.
What is that?
They're like German homeopathic drops, and there's one for everything. I'm taking like
everything.
6. Yes.
What are they called? I'm going to talk to you about that. I'll text you after the podcast about that. Yeah. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, they're a German drop, but there's something.
That's some for pain, like back pain, arthritis pain, stuff like that.
I believe they do. Yeah, they have like high blood pressure ones. They have allergy ones. I take the allergy ones for food and for outdoor, and like you don't think it's working until you quit, and then you're like, oh, I need that now, So
that's true with a lot of supplements and vitamins and stuff too, and protein. I mean, if you proteins or sugars or stuff that you have to have.
Yes.
Just like, especially protein. If I don't have my protein, I just fall to pieces. Exactly. I have no brain. I'm weak.
The main thing that they're like trying to get me to get on board with, and this would make sense that my progress has been kind of slow, would be that I have to do a lot of forgiveness ritual.
That's hard.
You're forgiving you or them or both.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
You go through everybody, and when you go through each one, then you also forgive yourself and God in that process. And so like it's lengthy, and like sometimes when I do it, I'm like, was I just going through the motions, or do I actually feel like I forgive? I'm not sure.
Yeah, am I doing the action, or am I feeling the feeling? It's just a long thing.
Yes.
I don't like long things personally. I like it to be short.
It's a long run. And so I'm the same. I'm kind of like ADD, where it's like on to the next, like, can I just do a really fast visualization or light a candle and make this go away? And so, it seems to be that's probably what's holding me up the most is the forgiveness work. And what's interesting about the whole Qigong journey is that I do go to like a regular counselor once a week. And she honestly is kind of in line with their thinking of like a lot of these ailments.
Mindfulness.
Could be a lot of trauma stored in the body, and things like that.
I agree, especially as an empath. I mean, I think we talked about this in the last podcast. You carry all this crap in your body. You can see it in other people if you're used to looking for it, or if you give back rubs, or you're around someone a lot and the way they stand and stuff. You can see where they're carrying other people's problems or whatever. Usually people I like now know they're carrying other people's problems because they're nice people. But otherwise, it's like I've as the podcast listeners know, if they have been listening, I kind of been through a purge in my life in the last few years, just getting rid of toxicity, and getting it out. And that was one of the reasons, was health reasons. But that's not the reason I started, but it worked for that, helped with that. And I was really surprised because I said on the last podcast, I was like, come on. That's how I used to be about that, using spiritual techniques to heal the body. Now, podcast guest after podcast guest after podcast guest convinced me to rethink that. And I have rethought it. And I do believe there's something, but I don't think it's the absolute fix. I refuse to believe that. I refuse it. I don't know now, but that's where I am with it. I don't know, but I will definitely give it a try,
Exactly. And that's kind of where I am too, is like trying to figure out which one is the thing for me. I'm not sure.
Yes. That's, and I like to do things myself. So if I learn it, I want to go do it by myself, to myself, like a chiropractor. I did enough of that to learn how to adjust a lot of things. I can adjust my neck and my, not my hips though. I still have a hard time with that. I'm trying to figure that one out. And I use Qi to do it. Like, I'll just when I do the neck pops, I can't do it now because I'm sitting this way, but I'll just focus in. I'll just say to myself, Qi, be with me. And then you just let it go with whatever it wants to do.
Interesting.
I don't know if you heard that, but it popped this side.
I did hear it. Yeah.
And it tells you what to do with your hands and everything. It just tells you, you trust it. You give it just blind faith and it just does it. And it's told me some ways on the couch to sit and do my hips, but I'm not getting it right. So I have to work on that some more. And it showed me some yoga poses that helped. But one hip has a different problem than the other hip. So I can't do the same thing to both hips is what I finally figured out. So without the help of Qi, I was just kind of like, why does it work on this leg and not on this one, And there's something different there. No doctor knows because they don't care. Honest to God. I just got discharged by my gynecologist's office for no reason other than being upset because they weren't going to send me my estradiol after having a surgical hysterectomy. And I found out my doctor retired and I dropped some F-bombs in the portal. I didn't. But I mean, seriously, you don't threaten a psych patient to take away their estradiol after why would you do that? Why would you do that? They had no reason to, and then they lied to me and told me a bunch of stuff that did not happen. And when I said that did not happen, this is what happened. That's when I found out 2 weeks later, I'm discharged. I called to make an appointment.
There's a whole study on the medical practice and
gaslighting. Medical gaslighting. I follow that crap. I agree with it. 100%.
It's infuriating.
100%.
And the more you read about it, they're like, "Oh, that's happened to me."
It's happened to every freaking body.
Every person.
I will say, no female doctor has ever done it to me.
Oh, okay.
That's a feminist in me wanting to point that out. Just want to point that out. So I guess, is there anything you'd like to teach the listeners about how they could find out more about Qigong and where to start with
basically, that? If you Google Heather Harmony, you will find her. She does do astrology sessions still. And then Dr. Hone's practice is called Elements of Life Wellness Center.
Okay.
And so if you just Google that, it will pull them up. They do seem to be based in Utah, but he seems to travel around quite a bit. Most of everything I've done with them has been through internet. And yeah, really cool. They're very, very personable. They teach lots of different types of classes that are super affordable. And so anybody that's just kind of looking into, Qigong and just different types of practices that can help, heal yourself, heal other people, it's worth looking into. And definitely stuff that they teach is not stuff that you can find on the internet. I have
That's
looked.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
So
they
like they
discovered
do
themselves stuff. Yeah.
it's like actual stuff from real books that
What a
hasn't
book.
really been
The book?
spread all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
A book that
definitely
sadly will definitely be out of print right now. Probably.
But yeah,
So,
if people are into that and they're looking for something affordable, I would definitely highly recommend both of them. Both of them have very affordable prices for what they
I like that.
So at this point, I would love to thank Everclear. Everclear is our sponsor, everclear.com, and it is an application on the phones and tablets. And you can get psychic advice from advisors, empaths, and psychics to get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And Misty's supposed to say you deserve it. And now Miriam tells me where she works. Miriam works at Everclear too. And so do I. We're both advisors. She is Miriam M. Miriam M.
Miriam
or just Miriam C.
Miriam C.
C. Okay, I'm Lisa P. Leesa. I said they said to use a name you hadn't used before, and I've used my name. So anyway, I've talked to you. I wonder if I could change it, but then all my reviews would be very confusing, I think.
Right.
But who knows? I guess I don't need to. But Everclear is awesome. Check them out. You can't get a bad reading on Everclear. I don't think. Every advisor, I call them. I call it. I have friends that I get free readings from, and I'll still call advisors. But I want like that nobody knows perspective on something I haven't explored it yet. Like I'm one of those people who likes, people bitch about this on the forum, on our forum on Everclear. We're like, why did they ask us and then say 6 other psychics said this? We're like, why do they do that? I understand why they do that, but I don't know why they tell you that. Because I do people for readings, but I don't tell them I'm getting readings from everybody else. Right. And then I look at all the data and I'm like, okay, a lot of perspectives from all my psychic people and my friends and one person that I paid. And I'm like, okay, and I work with that. It's my church.
Love it. But yeah, it is one of the forums. You have to do a couple of readings to even get hired there. And like, if it wasn't accurate, then they probably wouldn't hire you. So that's a pretty good indication that,
and you can't apply again. Did you know that? If you don't get accepted the first time, you can't apply again ever.
Oh, I would imagine not. Like what would be the
they
point?
usually get people like most of the platforms I've worked on will say in 2 years or a year you can apply again if you grow your skills. Okay. This is the only one I've ever heard of that said no way you can never apply again unless they said that in an email prior to you specifically, which I've had that happen.
Interesting. Okay.
Of course I have.
Yeah.
You cannot come back. You are no longer a fit.
Like pretty legit. Like it felt like a legit reading when I was doing mine. And I didn't feel like they were trying to trick you or anything like that. Like
no, they aren't.
Pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And I guess lastly, I want to thank you, Misty and Miriam, both of you, for doing this podcast. It's been fun.
Thank you,
and listeners, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we'll see the sound and audio and picture and stuff. But I hope I'll be able to fix it if it doesn't. And lastly, I want to thank the listeners and watchers, if there are some on this one. Love you guys so much, and we always do.
We do love you.
We do love you. And Misty, I love you. And Miriam, I love you too. We are a big, happy family now. We have another podcast coming up, and 3rd time's the charm. What's going to happen? Insane, crazy stuff. You have to wait for a week, though. I think, or no, 2 weeks, maybe. I don't know. It's a little ways.
Maybe 2. Closer.
Yeah, maybe let's do. Okay, give us a little wait for Miriam. Okay, well, thank you so much, and everybody have a great time wherever you may be. You don't have to hang up, Miriam.
Okay.
Peace out.